So, today I wanted to talk about letting go of your old identity because I'm in the phase in my life where I literally feel like my old identity is being crashed and burned and I'm being reborn. And I'm making this video inside of a bathroom because the light in my room has literally decided to also check out. It's like, welcome to the shadow aspect of life. Okay, I'm back into the light. So I feel like when it comes to letting go of your old identity, it's something that I have had to do multiple times in my life because of just the way that my life organized itself. And especially right now, I feel like a lot of people are going through changes, and I'm going through changes. And basically, recently, I went from not really living my life, okay? I was kind of literally existing in life doing not much of anything. I couldn't work anymore because I felt like the job that I was doing was mentally draining to me. I couldn't talk to people anymore. I deactivated myself from everywhere. I basically disappeared from existence, and I was like, how do I do anything? So it felt like my entire life was just not living. I was not living at all. And then what happened was that during the full moon, it was in Pisces, and my moon is in Pisces. So I was like, praise the Lord, because this was going to be intense. So I set the intention to let go of my past. And I did, and I had a lot of nightmares. And then the next morning, I woke up, and what happened was that I went on Instagram, which I don't normally do in the morning, and I saw a Jay Shetty post about being a coach, a life coach. And I was like, oh, let me check that out because I kept thinking about it, and I looked at it, and I actually signed up, and they admitted me. And I was like, this was the happiest moment of my life because it felt like now I actually have a purpose. I'm not just existing anymore. I mean, I'm still existing last time I checked, but it kind of challenged my entire identity of myself as well as my life situation, because right now I have to go to work, and before I was like going to move in with my mom because I didn't want to work the job that I was working, and I worked at a club. And when you go through a spiritual awakening, you don't want to work at a club, okay? Because there's people there that just, it's alcohol and the kind of environment that if you're sensitive to energy, it's just very difficult to function in. So I was struggling with that. I'm like, I don't want to work there. I'll go stay with mom, and maybe I'll write a book, maybe I'll create like an art gallery, but I was not passionate about it. So I was like, well, okay. But when I finally signed up for that school, it's actually it costs more than my rent. I was like literally unwilling to work to pay for my rent because I don't like my job. But now that I signed up, I'm willing to work to make the rent and to pay for my school. But it kind of makes me really become a different person because I had to go from seeing myself as someone who doesn't exactly do much of anything. I still worked very little, but I was not very happy because I didn't know where I was going. And I kept getting in my own way because I didn't exactly have a way. Like, I didn't have a place that I was going to in my life. I didn't know what my purpose was, even though in theory, your purpose is just to be yourself, okay? So if you're looking for your purpose is to be yourself. That's in theory, okay? Even if we sometimes don't feel like we have a purpose, the upstairs people say that in theory your purpose is to be yourself. So I didn't feel like I had one. And I guess so I was getting in my own way because I wasn't really going anywhere until I found that school. And now I have to start seeing myself differently on top of having to work more because I borrowed money from a friend. So now I'm like, I have to work more to make that up and to make everything else. So my life became very focused. I became very laser focused on what I have to do, my mission, and where I'm going. And actually, for a very long time, my ego was like, I don't want to be a coach. I was so convinced that for the life of me, I will not be a coach. Okay, I don't know what it was. I think I went through this spiritual awakening thing where I didn't talk for a while, which is like there's a huge missing gap of video time space because I did not talk for a while, literally, because I felt like the world was a mirror. So everything I said to anybody else was mirrored back at me. So it's almost like you're looking into the mirror and you tell the person in the mirror that their shirt is wrinkled, but you're looking in the mirror. So you're talking to yourself. And that always hurt me. I was like, I did not know how to talk. So after I went through all of that, I felt like I have zero right to tell anybody else what to do. I'm like, I cannot tell you what to do because you know what's best for you. You have all the intelligence within you and you are already whole and complete just the way that you are. And that's genuinely how I started to see people. I started to see everybody like they are just who they are meant to be. You're whole and complete. You're perfect. I love you because you exist, because this is just what I do. Okay, I love everybody because they exist, because spiritual awakening is going to do that to you. And after I got to a place where I can genuinely say, I love you because you exist, you're whole, perfect, and complete, just the way that you are, now I can talk. But I still signed up to be a coach, so it was kind of like against my ego ideas of myself. So now I'm sitting here like, okay, so I have to recontemplate my entire existence, and it's amazing. I'm excited. I started to see myself again as a student because I was a student once, and it feels like such a light, happy, focused energy that I'm just so grateful for it. And I realized that the key when it comes to changing your identity and letting go of the old one is literally finding a new one. Because if you are trying to just let go, you gotta replace it with something. You can't just, I was trying to let go of my old personality or self, and I couldn't necessarily do it because I didn't know where I was going. You have to replace it with something. Because I use this analogy of that beliefs are like clothing. So when you're wearing beliefs that are like clothing, if you want to just get rid of the old one, you gotta replace something new. Otherwise, like if you just have a belief like a shirt, you don't like it, you're gonna take that off. If you're gonna walk around naked, someone's gonna throw an old shirt on you that you may not enjoy. So it's important to find our own. It's important to find what is it that you are replacing the old with. So it's more important to focus on the new. What is the new identity of the person that you want to be? How do you want to see yourself? What does that version do? How does that version act? For a while I did this too, in a different way. Before I signed up to be a coach, which I'm not sure what kind, likely a life coach or empowerment or something, and I would try to kind of think, how would I act if I had everything that I wanted? If I was everything that I wanted to be, how would I behave? How would this version of me act? And I got to a point where there was no difference really. And that's when I aligned with Jay Shetty's coaching. But it's really important to have that idea of what kind of person do you want to be. And if you don't have that, that's okay too. For a while, I did not have that. I was like, well, but I don't know who I want to be. I've been through so many reality collapses, personality shifts, and ideas of self being changed that I didn't necessarily know what my truth was. So in that case, what I found helpful was just to take the next step, the next thing. What is the next thing that gives you most excitement, curiosity, passion? What is the next step you can take that feels like the most authentic expression of you? And sometimes finding yourself, at least for me, it was like a journey. I guess some people are born knowing themselves, and I'm happy for them, but for me, I had to really kind of become everything that I wasn't to find what my truth was. So when you're letting go of something that doesn't belong to you, there will always be something new that comes in that stead, right? And it can feel a little bit disorienting at first because a lot of the time you're so used to that old mindset. And for me too, like I'm looking at my life and I'm understanding that the new version that is going to be studying to be a coach apparently, because I told my ego to sit down and be quiet, because if my heart wants to be a coach and help everybody, because if I can, well, not that no one needs help, but if I can help guide them, then if that's what my heart wants to do, that's what I'm gonna do. So I told my ego to sit down, be quiet, and don't sabotage me anymore, because I was getting in my own way all the time. So yeah, I would say that's really the key thing. And I'm going through this now as well, but it can be scary or it can be exciting. And that choice is up to us, okay? Because if it's scary, it's just because we're afraid of the outcome. We're worried about what's going to happen. But if we're excited, it's because we are embracing the new. We are aware that we are finding more of ourselves, and we're becoming more of whom we're meant to be. Like, for example, I haven't made videos in so long, but I forgot that I genuinely enjoyed it. I enjoyed making them. Even if I had a whole ego trap of just not talking for a while because I didn't know how to talk, as weird as that sounds. But uh, yeah, so I think that's about it. And thank you for watching, and keep being you, and just know that if there's something that you want to do, identity you want to let go of, or a new one you want to find, you can do it. Okay, if I can do it, you can do it too. So I believe in you.